Hi, my name is Maxim, and this is my performativity assignment for CAMS 1301. So this project consisted of 3 different responses. So the first one is we are supposed to critique one of our peers. The next one is we are supposed to critique ourselves. And the third one is we kind of have to essentially act out what those critiques were that we gave ourselves. So for the first one, I will be critiquing Donald in our class. One verbal/linguistic behavior of theirs that I would use in the future is their ability to commit the speech to memory. I think Donald does a really good job of going up there, whether he's like nervous or not, and doesn't really show that too well. But he does a great job with his memory, and ultimately that helps with his delivery. The next nonverbal behavior of theirs that I would like to use with the speech is just the variety of hand gestures that he uses. I think it's good. I think it's inviting to the audience. And for me, I know when I was rewatching my last video, I kind of just did the same hand gesture, just like this, about 50 times. And so maybe finding a little bit of variety in those hand gestures. One point that I think they could improve is to avoid like leaning on that little table thing where the computer's at. I think he looked almost a little too relaxed on that one, which is fine, but I'd say for future ones, maybe try to just like move around a little bit more. I know in class we talked about the speaker's trapezoid, which I'll be talking about a little more here, but maybe moving around, engaging with the audience a little bit. So next is the second part, so this is the self-critique. So the first one is a verbal/linguistic behavior that I am proud of or which I'm pleased. I personally think I do a good job with speaking loud enough so that way all my peers can hear me in the back of the classroom. It also makes me sound a little more confident because I am able to project and I am able to have everyone hear me as well. One nonverbal behavior that I see as competent, I think I try to do a good job of maintaining eye contact with the audience. I know a lot of times I'm guilty of looking down at my note cards a lot. However, I do think that like when I do look up from my note cards, I think I can do a good job of being able to scan the room and kind of make eye contact with everyone. And then next is kind of like your 3 no-nos or the 3 things you want to lose before your next speech. So my first one, I said looking at my note cards a little too much. I think I need to do a better job of committing those to memory. We talked a lot in class about the different canons of rhetoric. So the first one being invention, style, and arrangement, and that's kind of the before, and that all goes into the rough drafts that we post into our folders. I think I do a good job of that, getting the material, doing the research, so I think I do a good job with that. The areas where I feel like I struggle, though, are with memory and delivery. So I think if I can memorize or put a little more time memorizing my speeches, that'll ultimately help with delivery, so that way I'm not constantly going up and down on my note cards. The next one is having posture. So watching my video back, it was almost really embarrassing to see my posture because I was very much like hunched over and like to myself. And I think part of that is just nerves, just anxiety with talking in front of a general group of people. So I think I just need to just relax a little bit when I go up there, maybe just like shake it out or like roll my shoulders back or something to kind of help me like calm down a little bit. And the last one is movement. So I feel like, and this is funny with any sport or any other activity I do, I just kind of stay in like one spot. I don't move a whole lot. And so that's something that I'm really trying to work on personally. So again, utilizing that speaker's trapezoid, which in a minute I'll talk a little bit more about. So instead of kind of like standing in one spot, maybe taking like one step to the left or to the right, maybe moving around, engaging with the audience a little bit more so that way they're more interested and they don't see me up there just kind of like hunched over. And then last is like the performativity aspect of it. So this is where I kind of act out like what it looks like. So for the first one, just kind of like looking at my note cards, I feel like I just kind of stand here and I just kind of like read off my note cards. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I feel like I shake a lot when I speak. And for me, that's something that I've always done. It's just something that's natural and something that happens to me. So I've just kind of been able to just work with that. That's part of my like developing process. And again, so to try to avoid this, just again, going back to those canons of rhetoric, just working with memory. So going over the speech as many times as I can, almost quizzing myself on the speech, making sure I know what I'm talking about and I don't have to go up there and just rely solely on my note cards. And the other one being delivery, right? So when I go over those note cards, when I memorize those, that'll help me with the delivery. So that way I'm, one, able to maintain better eye contact with the audience, and two, I think it'll give me a lot more confidence. The next one is posture. So it's so funny. So when I was in the video, I was kind of like angled like this. So you could see me, I was kind of like hunched over like this, like reading my note cards. It looked really embarrassing. Again, so just like how I mentioned earlier, maybe just taking a deep breath before I go up there, like rolling back my shoulders, kind of correcting, like making sure I stand up more straight, not necessarily like overdoing it, like puffing my chest out or anything, but just to kind of go up there. And I think that'll help me not only with like the anxiety and like the stage fright that I can kind of get from that, but that'll definitely help me with my delivery, and I'll sound a lot more confident with what I have to say. And then the last is movement. Like I said, I kind of just stand in one spot, maybe take like one step to the right or left here and there. But for the most part, I kind of just stay in one spot. And so the speaker's trapezoid that I've been talking about is essentially when you are up at the front of the room, you have a trapezoid shape where you can kind of walk around in. That's essentially like your area that you need to own. So for me, being able to go up to those different areas, whether it's, not necessarily like right in front of someone, but kind of like closer to the camera or like further away, so that way people can kind of get a sense. Another big thing, and I know Tommy talks about like pauses and stuff, how pausing is okay. So maybe if I start in like this corner right here, then after like my first main point, I can kind of walk over, to the next point, and then start going over that point. So that way it almost forces me to move, and then I can essentially take a breath, relax, fix my posture, do whatever I need to do kind of before I hit that next point. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And yeah, see ya.